Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tayo. I call myself the adult immigrant. I blog about my journey as an adult immigrant from Nigeria to Canada. In February 2020, my family and I moved to Canada, and it's been good news since then. We're thriving, we're doing great, and I try to blog about it. Yeah, I know I've been very distant from YouTube. Life happened, and I'm not going to give excuses or tell you why I've been out. For those of you following me on social media, I'm sure you're updated with my life and what has been happening. Yeah, so I hope that I would be able to do more videos on YouTube this year. During the holiday, I watched some of my old videos and I was so excited to, it was so fascinating to see the growth. And I think that I think I came to a resolve that the video is as much for you as is for me, because when you see where you're coming from, you definitely you'll be so excited and grateful to God for where you are and where you're definitely going to. So I would try to shoot at least one video a month or more if I can, and yeah, and share with you guys. So today's video is not much about progress or what's happening in my life. Well, it's happening in my life too, but is some kind of like a gratitude video. I know during the holidays I saw a post by Timi Dakolo talking about sharing stories, and it really resonated with me because I've actually aligned with people's stories. People's stories online actually inspire and motivate me to forge ahead in my life, in some aspect of my life. And one particular story really changed my life for good many years ago. And I just thought, why don't I just put my story out there so that you never know who is going through what I went through or who needs to hear this. So why not? So coincidentally, it's my daughter's birthday today. She's 16. Yeah, pitch me. I'm a mom of a 16-year-old. Yeah, so it's so exciting because this video is about her. So I don't know, for those of you that have teenage children, you will, I know all teenage children are not like mine, but for me, what I realized as my daughter has grown up over the years, she reminds me a lot of me, and so as much as the fact that when I want to talk very deep and emotional with her, she balls out, so she runs away from those kind of situations. So she runs away from those kind of. She's quite deep. She's not a lot like me. She's very deep, but I realize that anytime I want to talk like deep level conversations like what I'm about to talk about, she balls out and she doesn't want to listen. So she would say ew. And I'm like, baby, I love you so much and I really want you to always know that. But I guess it's the Nigerian. It's not an excuse, but it's Nigerian. I used to be like that, don't get me wrong, but over the years I've been in situations and things have evolved for me to the point where showing love and expecting love back in return is just kind of natural to me. And I always just love to let people know how I feel genuinely about them all the time. So I'm glad that I'm doing this because she's going to have to edit this video and she has no choice but to watch it. So it's a win-win situation. So so this video is just about my daughter. So she's 16 years old today. So it all started from the reason, apart from what I saw that Timi Dakolo posted, last year December I was having a conversation with my sponsor at work. We have this sponsorship arrangement, like mentorship arrangement, when you start working in my organization. And there was a very deep conversation day where she asked me what is my most prized possession. So you think maybe I'll say my house or my car or something, but I wasn't even a minute to think about it. One of the things that they expect from you in my organization where I work is they want you to, when it comes to culture fit, you are one person that can think on your feet, and they won't give you a chance to think, so you have to give it to them. So immediately what came to my mind was my daughter, and I was quite vulnerable in that conversation because honestly in a workplace that, you know, we've only like virtually met. But when it comes to psychological safety, I find that so huge in my organization. Nobody looks down on you and you feel very safe to talk. So I found that situation very safe to talk. So I told my sponsor that my most prized possession is my daughter. The reason is because I had her at 21 years old, and at that time I actually thought my life was going to end. I wasn't going to make anything of myself. I had all those plans and aspirations, but I got pregnant right from uni, and everything just dipped. And for me, I grew up in a family of 7 children. I was the last, and my father was a typical technocrat. So he's a chartered accountant, had his own firm that he worked forever, and he actually rose to the peak of his profession. He was one time ICANN president. So ICANN is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. And so he's all this, you know, this family that you get married and you give birth, and then, or you go to school, you get married, give birth, you know, that kind of thing. You follow the usual procession, but I did it. So I got pregnant. I was in Unilag. I got pregnant my final year. My parents were so disappointed. My mom wanted to go crazy, and in fact, she was wondering where she failed, because she's so Christian, and she tried to, you know, put us in that part, and somehow I missed my way. My dad blamed my mom, and then my dad, you know, was not minding words to show how disappointed he was of me at the time. And it was such a bad situation. I couldn't talk to anyone. We're so young then. I couldn't even confide in friends because the situation was too mature for my friends. I don't know if you get me. So I had a few friends that were mature enough to help me in that situation, and I told them, and there was little they could do. So I was dating my daughter's father for many years, and he was much older. My priorities were definitely different. When I look back, I just laugh. I wanted trips, I wanted to go out, have dinner, you know, all those things, you know. I wanted to be in a relationship where resource was never a limiting factor. So, and I was from a decent home. My parents would give me money. I would travel on holidays, but I still wanted more. So I dated this guy and everything. So when I got pregnant, I told him, and to be honest, I'm not going to lie and pretend as if I'm a saint. I actually considered terminating it, and then he talked me out of it and told me not to. That why would I? That he's crazy about me. I was but I shouldn't tell my parents yet. So that he wants to put some things in place. Then he'll come and meet them, and then I can now tell them. So I was in my parents' house for months. They didn't know I was pregnant. I was overweight then, so it was easy to hide the pregnancy in quotes. So the implication was that I needed to be upbeat. I would clean, I would cook. I didn't want my parents to suspect that anything was wrong. Fast forward to 7 months, he was supposed to come, and for some reason I don't know, things just went AWY. I'm just going to give you an abridged version. It was crazy, it was disrespectful to my parents, and my dad was so mad, and the situation was just so messy. So thankfully I could travel to the UK, so I ran off to the UK. My friends, I had 2 sets of friends in the UK, and my sister is quite strict, so it was zero tolerance from her. She didn't want to have anything to do with me at that time initially. And then I reached out to my girlfriends, the 2 separate people. They were living in different, and they were so accommodative. They really accommodating. They really helped me, supported me during that time, didn't judge me. I'm forever indebted and grateful to them, because at that time I don't know what would have happened to me. So fast forward, I had my child, came back to Nigeria. Thankfully, I was as much disappointed as my family were about me. They really did support me to the point where I don't know how that happened, they came to resolve that because I had a child for this guy didn't mean I had to end up marrying him. But but the implication was that I had to step up my game and be responsible. My brother, I will forever be grateful. He was so supportive, even though every time I could see that, because he was a guy on the streets of Lagos at that time, he was so pained that someone could do such to his sister and get away with it. He always wanted to, retaliate and just, who is this guy? But somehow he was able to control himself and the situation and just, channel the energy to support me. And I remember vividly that I asked him years after that, why were you so supportive? He was just like, he wanted a situation where at some point I would get a grip of myself and my life and, get it sorted, because in the future, he might be willing to help but not able. But he was just hoping by chance and everything that all the support that I got would, get into my head and ensure that I get a grip and, sort my life out. So fast forward, when I came back to Nigeria, I had an extra semester in school, so I had to go back to Unilag. So I had a baby, I finished school, bad results. In fact, I've cancelled Unilag for my life. Apart from the relationship I developed back then, I really played my way out of it. And I had to get a job. I had to figure out what to do quickly because I had this child to take care of who didn't beg to come to the world in the first place. I messed up the situation, so I needed to get a grip. So I worked, and thankfully I was able to, my dad supported me, even though I would hear all sort of words. My dad would say then that you were not ready, but in Yoruba, let me say it in Yoruba, ready, ready. I don't know how to translate that in English, sorry, English listeners. But it was, I think, literally what he was saying, that you were not ready for this, and then you opened up, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, I eventually, got a grip. I started a career in accounting. I was training in an accounting firm, and then I had to go for NYC. Thankfully, I was street smart anyway. That's why I got pregnant in the first place. I was able to walk myself to Lagos and back to where I actually was training as an accountant. So that's how I started my profession in finance. And it was just there. I wasn't like totally happy. I made so many mistakes because for some reason, I don't know how it got into my head that I was never going to end up with a great guy, because who wants to end up with a baby mama? No, in that time, 2006, it wasn't so common to be a baby mama like now, where all over social media, people are actually, they have ambitions to be baby mamas to like celebrities. It wasn't like that. So I was living my life. Thankfully, my family was so supportive. At that time, my siblings had children around the same age as my daughter Tamilore. So when they're going on, play date, they'll pick her up. My sister-in-law was so amazing. I will never forget her. She would take her swimming, country club. She was always including her in their like family trips. And I could remember that when she was sick, I'm always so hysterical, because the job I had there, I had no insurance. So, I would be so scared. How much would it cost me to take her to the hospital? My sister-in-law, sorry, she would, she lived in the UK for many years. She was like, Tayo, don't worry. Like, it's only in Nigeria that you have to, go and get drip. She had this book, almost 0 to 5, that she would just read stuff and she would tell me what to do, because I just had no business being a mom at the time. I had no clue, but they were all supportive. Fast forward, I had that taken care of. Anytime I was able to pay her school fees, she went to role model schools in Oregon, Ikeja, because I was living in my parents' house, and the school is owned by Daystar School, relatively decent school, but you had to pay school fees too. I wasn't earning much, honestly. My first salary was 15k, then 25k, and our school fees was maybe average of I think maybe it started maybe 80k per term, and then eventually I don't know, maybe like 200k. It was a lot, but I was able to, because I was buy, sell. I was just a hustler, I would go to the market, buy stuff. I was, my daughter told me the other day that what tripped her the most was one day when I came home with laptops and phones that someone sent to me from the UK and said I was selling, that there's really nothing I haven't sold. But you know, really, when you are in a situation where you had no choice but to survive, you will survive. So thankfully, I got into Sahara oil as an intern right after the training at the audit firm. But unfortunately, that excitement didn't last because I didn't end the program. Then I was sad, you know, but thankfully I got another job. So that's when my journey with Helios Towers Nigeria started, and I started working in their finance department. Oh my God, so nostalgic feeling. And yeah, so I go to work. It was just a normal. My mom was so supportive. She used to take care of my daughter from when she comes back from school bus and all that. Then I had my neighbors, Sade, and oh gosh, when I look back, it's so amazing. They would do school runs in the morning, share it. It was so amazing, you know, so that I would save costs from school bus. And you know, these are people that ask for nothing in return. So they understand this. They understood the situation, but they were angels that God sent to me. But in my personal life, I was still making mistakes. I was hoping that maybe I could reconcile my daughter's father. I didn't want to be that girl that will have multiple children with different men. I don't know, it was like a taboo then. I wanted to settle down, even though it wasn't right for me. But I tried to make that work. Then I went into like relationship with older men, thinking that they were the ones that were mature enough to actually have a woman that had a child. So I just restricted myself in that, you know, that bracket of people for some reason, but that never worked, thankfully. So one Sunday, I remember vividly, because it was a Sunday, I came back from church. My dad would buy This Day newspaper that had the insert of the magazine, This Day magazine lifestyle. And my daughter has been picked up to go to country club with my sister-in-law and my kids, and I was alone at home, not doing much. And you know, those are the times where you think about your life, you know, when you're alone and you don't have to fake it that you had joy. You know, you would realize that you are not where you want to be, and it's all because of mistakes that you made in the past. That what are you going to do? And I remember that I glanced through this magazine and I saw this lady. Honestly, I wish I kept that magazine, because I keep talking about this to anybody that cares to listen. That encounter actually changed my life. So I opened the insert sometime, I don't know when exactly, but it was This Day magazine, and I saw this lady. She was taking, you know how they put like a family portrait on the front page, she and her kids and her husband. They look okay and very perfect. You know how those things can look glossy and nice. And in the magazine, I realized that the lady had her first 2 children from another relationship, and she ended up with this great guy and had 2 more children. And I was like, so it's possible for someone to, you know, get their life back after making such, you know, bad decisions in the past. And she's actually, the lady was successful in her career. She was doing great, not only in the family life, even in her career. And I just thought, you know, I don't know, reading that and reading her story, I just thought to snap out of it. I was like, Tayo, what the heck? Permit my French, that you can do better. You can, there's nothing wrong in what you've done. I mean, there's something wrong in it, literally, but you can actually, is what happens next that matters. Even though it was not immediately it happened, but it was, I don't know what I can say about the experience of reading the lady's story, but it made me realize that I could do better, and what I needed to do personally was to strive to be the best version of myself. And once I do that, the right person will identify that, or the right situations will identify that, and good things will keep happening to me. And that was what I started doing. So I started developing myself personally. You know, I wanted to be a chartered accountant, so I was doing ACCA, and I was also, you know, trying to, you know, develop my career, doing well in my career, so I get promotion, get more money, and just literally just, you know, engaging in situations and businesses that was going to be lucrative, so that anybody that sees me will see me as an asset. And even my daughter as an asset. You're getting two in one, rather than me feeling sorry for myself. And along the line, I think then my daughter was like 7 years old, and it was while I was studying for my ACC exam that I joined this tutoring center called Synergy. And one of the things that you do there is when you pay for the diet, that's what we call the session that we study for the exam. When you pay for the diet, you are restricted to sit in a particular place all through that period. So it's all, for example, if it's a September to December diet, you pay, and so you are allocated a seat that you have to sit for all the study sessions every Saturday, that same seat till the exam time. And that was where I met Lekon. So Lekon had to sit beside me, and we, even though I didn't find him interesting, but somehow he did find me interesting. I don't know why. So he was always trying to make conversations, and after class, when we're going to the car park, he would engage me, and I'll engage him. So right after the diet, we went out for drinks, Christmas time. But honestly, I didn't find him interesting because I realized that he was so different from me, and then he was so young. He was my age mate. I thought immediately I told him that I have a child, he probably run away, and there's no point actually engaging in something that will lead nowhere. So fast forward to the following year. So we got talking. We still, after the diet, we didn't obviously sit together, but we still engaged ourselves occasionally on the phone. Hey, how are you? But I still didn't find him interesting for some reason, and but we stayed as friends. I think that we would go out for drinks sometimes. I had this very close friend at work then. He's also in Canada now. I remember that I was sending him a message. I was saying, oh my God, that this guy went to Unilag with me, but our stories of Unilag are so different, because he finished with first class microbiology. I finished with God knows what, and I was also in science, but I never knew him. And he was one of those serious guys, and I was not. And I would tell my friend on the date, I will be texting my friend. I'll say, I don't deserve this guy, gosh, as in he's so good, it's too good to be true. And my friend will always assure me, which is what he still does till now, that Taya, you're awesome, you deserve everything good that happens to you in life, blah blah blah, that just enjoy it and everything. But I would just fast forward to where we are right now. I eventually, all that happened. So in 2012, when I decided to take charge of my life, my physical life, and lose some weight, I was telling anybody that cares to listen about my fitness journey. So Lekon would call me when he's going to work, we'll talk on the phone, and I would tell him about my progress and everything. And then I think for him, it was just realization that we could actually be friends and have conversations. And he would drop by the gym sometimes. When I talk about how my trainers stretch me, you always come and see how it happens because he doesn't understand. Anyway, so eventually I think for me too was because my clock was ticking. At that year I was going to be 28, I think. So I was now narrowing down my options and getting a grip of that situation. I didn't want to be 38 with a child and still be doing shakara. So I had a couple of options, but then I started to look at people that had, like, the person that had like aligned values with me. It was going to be a chartered accountant too, and it was so focused, he finished with first class. What do you guys mean? So I wanted that department, like someone that was focused and all that. So I ended up with him, and then I remember that it was his birthday, April 17th of that year. I planned for us to go out for dinner. We weren't dating then, but we kind of made it official that day because I shoot my shots. I was like, alpha, that kind of thing, and then say, let's see how things evolve. So we kind of started dating that, and everything happened really fast. I was obviously nervous that how I was going to tell his family that I had a child and everything, and he told me not to worry, that he had that taken care of. I was wondering how a young man like that will have that taken care of, but I guess God had his own plans. So we ended up together, we got married. This is not about him, but I think that what I'm trying to bring out from this whole conversation is the fact that whenever you find yourself in a very, very dicey situation, is what happens next that matters. Your next might not be 1 or 2 years, it could be 7 years like my next. But I think that don't beat yourself over what decisions or what situations that you put yourself in the past. and try to, factional ways that you can forge ahead and, progress. I think for me, the realization from what I read in that This Day magazine, that I could actually focus on myself as an individual and, create that person, Tayo, who is an asset and who, like, good things will now start getting attracted to, was the game changer for me. Because, if as a young man, you will never just introduce me as Tayo with a child, but you actually look at me holistically and be proud to actually present me out to anybody that cares to listen. So so I hope that you learn a few things from this conversation. Is not to brag about whatever, but when I look at my daughter who is 16, and I think of how I was managing to pay school fees, and every time that I did pay school fees, it was such an achievement for me. And then where we are right now, I'm totally grateful to God that we've gone full circle. Like, from a little bad decisions that I took in the past, I'll never call my daughter a mistake, but bad decision I took in the past, and how it has turned around to be such a blessing, such a huge blessing in my life today, is so marvelous. And I'm always just so grateful. I'm short of words. So that being said, Tamilore, mommy loves you so much. I can die for you, and I just always want to express my love and gratitude to God, for bringing you. You take care of your brother. Like, my husband and I will go out on dates, go for parties, and my friends will be like, "You're so lucky, you have a living nanny." So not like you, but I am so grateful that I have you in my life. You are my mini me. We practically grew up together, and for that I'm grateful for the woman that you're growing up to be. And I pray that from now henceforth things will just be better, and you get your life together. You always be the best version of yourself, always. And it's only the beginning. This is only the beginning. So anyway, before I go emotional and start crying, thank you very much. If you have watched this so far, you are definitely an MVP, because this is definitely going to be one of the longest videos I've ever done. It's just I wanted to express myself and just share this story so that I could encourage someone out there. Thank you very much for watching. If you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. I will be going to stay committed to dropping video at least once a month. It could be more. And yeah, just join us in this journey this thriving journey of ours in our new country, Canada. Till next video is peace out from me. Bye.